Welcome back to the show. We're joined by former United and Oldham striker Andy Ritchie, and alongside Andy, the top journalist with the Sunday Express, that is John Richardson. And if you want to get involved, by all means, send us your point of view today at channelm.co.uk. Just before we move off City and United, City made a pig's ear of it on Saturday, Andy. There's no way of dressing that up. But they get a chance to redeem themselves against Bolton. And with 2 games in hand, if City actually win them both, they'd still look a very good possibility for that 4th slot.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility at all for Manchester City. You know, and they'll want to back that bad result up at the weekend by going and beating Bolton. And Bolton are not having the best of seasons. They've changed manager, and there's a bit of, unrest with the fans, I think, as well. So it's a good time for maybe them to go and wrestle 3 points from them. Now,
John, over the past few weeks, you've probably written as much about pick notes and roll-up rates of interest when you're writing about United as you have about football. I suppose the Glazers will be skipping over recent results, but it's still another big game against Villa on midweek, isn't it?
It is, but I think they've got a very good record there, haven't they, at Villa Park. I think anybody who finishes above Man United will win the league. I think they're going to be right up there. I think also, of course, they're at the FA Cup, which could be a blessing in disguise, you know, especially with the Champions League coming up. But it's an important game for Aston Villa. See, they're the league table. They're going for 4th spot as well. I just can't believe how Liverpool are still up there. You know, they've lost all those games. Really, it's open for people like Manchester City to nab it, but Liverpool is still there. But not that United want to do City any favours by beating Villa, but, you know, you take United to win there. I
watched the Scouse derby on Saturday morning. It was like Holby City, wasn't it? That league table just came up. The point I was making, Andy, about City, with those games in hand, I mean, I know that being City, you think, win 2 games on the spin, but if they do, they're in a very good position there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's vital that they get this win at Bolton, you know, to start that. You know, you always say you'd rather have points on the board than games in hand. And I think that if you asked any manager, he'd say that to you.
The last sort of 7 games, Liverpool have won 5, drawn 2. Do you think now that Liverpool have got an advantage over the other teams because they've been in this situation before, they've strung results together, and Rafa Benitez does pride himself on his second half of the season all the time? I
was there at that Merseyside derby on Saturday. I've got to give credit Liverpool. You know, they did show, you know, some cohesion, some battle, some fight. They've also, of course, got Fernando Torres to come back. You know, they're getting these points without Torres. And he, along with Steven Gerrard, is the heartbeat, the talisman, if you like, of that team.
Well, I understand exactly what John's saying, Andy, but in the day, Liverpool was never down to 2 players. They had 8 or 9 really top-quality players and a couple of what Eric Cantona would have called water carriers, but they had a lot, they had a lot of quality players. They do look over-dependent maybe on those 2 these days, aren't they?
I think they do a little bit. I think it has changed. As you say, there was an array of talent always at Liverpool, and I think that it has changed a little bit, and they don't look the same team without Gerrard and Torres playing. I think Gerrard even more so. You know, I think he is the real one that they really miss. I know everybody would say Torres is the one that scores the goals, but, you know, they've still managed to get a few goals, you know, Couts come to the fore a little bit. But I think Gerrard is the real driving factor for them, and he's been sadly missed, yeah.
Ian, what's the latest on Gary Cahill? Because Bolton are the visitors tomorrow. Has been a pivotal figure for him this season, but I've just been reading about some kind of blood clot. Do we know how bad it is?
Yeah, we don't know exactly how bad it is. It's something that we've of course reported on today's Channel M today, and they're saying he's got a blood clot in his arm. Owen Cole's fearing now that he could actually miss the rest of the season, which, if it's true, it's a massive blow for Bolton, of course, because he's been such a great player at centre half for them. But Owen Cole's sort of saying it could be a blow for England as well, because he thought, had Gary Cahill been fit for the rest of the season, then he would have been a very good shout for Fabio Capello.
Have you been in this situation, not personally, but have you come across this blood clot thing? How bad is
it? It happened. I do quite a bit for Leeds Radio, and Enoch Shawumni at Leeds had a blood clot. I'm not sure where it was. I think it might have been in his lung, which is, you know, serious anyway, and anywhere you have it, but he had one in his lung, and he had, I think, 8-9 months off. He's recently got back playing, and he's gone on loan up to Kilmarnock. But it's a big thing, obviously. You know, if it moves and goes anywhere near your heart, it can be fatal. So they've got to really be cautious with it.
So we wish Gary Cahill well. Andy, we can't have you here and not talk about Oldham. because at the moment it is fairly grim, sadly, because it's not that long ago. It feels like the blink of an eye, John, doesn't it, to journalists, old hacks like us, that you were in the Premier League and it was tilting at windmill stuff. Now you could find yourself in the bottom flight, and that you suddenly think it shouldn't be like that.
No, you know, I'm really disappointed, and you know, it's not a nice place to be for them. I know that they've got maybe 3 or 4 games in hand, but they're playing Swindon this week, which is one of the games that they've got, and that is going to be a really tough game down there. They're playing really well at home, Swindon, and I think that it could come back and bite them on the backside, really, because if they don't get them in and it's fitting the games in, are they going to be playing 3 or 4 games in 10 days at the end of the season, which is not a good thing for them, to try and get points out of it. You get 1 or 2 injuries, it's you know, it's going to be tough for them, but they've got the ability, and Dave Penny's been there and done it and worn the T-shirt. He's a very successful manager, and he's going to have to really pull on all his experience to get them up there.
Bring back the plastic pitch, Jim.
No, Frankie Bunn's 6 goals.
That's why I had a disc out me back, the plastic pitch.
I thought it was because you were hopeless. Ian, you were going to say something?
Well, I'm an Oldham lad. I was born and bred there. Still live there now. Quite a few of my friends are Oldham Athletic fans, and a couple of them have really, really lost sort of a lot of passion for it this season. They're even saying it's the worst Oldham team they've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they're 23 like me, so they've not witnessed a lot, but you know what I mean.
Remember those Premier League days, though, with First Division, the old days, wasn't it, with Joe Royle. Never used to get home, until after midnight of Saturday games, because Joe would have drinks in the press room there. Yeah. We wouldn't get out till about 10 o'clock.
But it was the early days of the Premier League as well, Andy, wasn't it?
Yeah. When we actually got promotion in '91, it was still Division 1.
Yeah.
And then the year after it changed to the Premier League. And then we had 2 years in there, and it was great times. And I mean, the plastic pitch, it was a great surface to play on, and it actually made us better players. I truly believe that when I became an Oldham player and they had the plastic pitch, it improved my game, it improved my touch, it improved my passing, because you had to actually get it to someone's feet, because if you didn't, it just rolled out of the pitch.
But not your back now?
No, not my back, no.
John, we've only got a little bit of time left, but as a journalist, there is an interesting story potentially bubbling up, because as Stockport and Oldham head downwards, Rochdale and Bury could both get promoted, and there is a nice little tale in there.
I'd love to see Rochdale. We were talking earlier, weren't we, that I think it's more than 40 years since Rochdale have been promoted, so the fans deserve that, and you just hope they can hang on. But we're just saying that earlier, that they have lost sort of these leads before, haven't they? So fingers crossed for them. But for Stockport, they look dead and buried, I'm afraid. I mean, there's just no money there. It's a fight against the odds there, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I was speaking to Gary Ablett not long ago, and he was saying he just wants to try and get some experience in, because they've got so many youngsters there, just to try and steady the boat and bring that to the cards, to the table. Really.
Many, many thanks to John Richardson from the Sunday Express. Great to be back round the table with Andy Ritchie. Ian, of course, and Ian and myself will be back round this very table same time next week. I'm not sure they'll be quite as entertaining as these two, but they will be here for your delectation and delight. And don't forget, if you want to join in, we always welcome your emails, and we'll be sat here to put the football world to rights, Ian and myself and 2 guests, and we hope to see you same time next week.